Good morning, guys. I'm jumping on today because I woke up and what was on my mind is that I actually got a bit too busy, caught up with work life, mum life yesterday, and I did happen to miss our Facebook Live. But I'm committed to getting these out each and every week with actual helpful tools and tips to help you guys get started or really up the ante on your fitness journey. So I'm going to be talking today about training intensity, what that looks like, and what the training intensity you need to be working at to hit your goals. So if you are watching live, as always, please do let me know, leave some comments in the comments below, but also tag in anybody who you feel might benefit from today's episode. Let's start the conversation with a question. Are you working hard enough to achieve your goals? Now, often we have a lot of people coming through. They're either, just starting out training, or they have been training for quite a long time and their body actually does start to adapt to what they're already doing. So we need to either increase the intensity or the volume of their program so that they continue to hit results. Obviously, you're going to also get to a bit of a stage, like a peak in the ceiling, I suppose. And you're going to hit a level where you actually can't continue to increase without adding extra stress or overtraining potentially, or overdoing it where you lead to burnout. But for the sake of today's episode, we're going to be talking about getting to that zone to make sure that you actually do achieve your goals. So I think a really good indicator that everybody knows about when we're talking about intensity is going to be your heart rate. Now, heart rate used to be basically like the golden or godfather measure of intensity. But now they're kind of starting to steer away from just looking at your heart rate and now looking into RPE, which is basically the rate of perceived exertion. This can be measured in a number of ways, but the reason that we're really shifting to this, especially when it comes to, ease of measure, is because it can be measured there and then on the spot, as it is a rate of perceived exertion. So it can be, whether or not you're able to hold a conversation, how you're feeling throughout that session. So I'll quickly talk about the heart rate measure because that one is obviously very widely known. And if you're not familiar with it, a easy average way to find your maximum heart rate is going to be 220 minus your age. So let's use that as an example. If you are 40 years old, for example, make that maths easy. It's going to be 220 minus 40 equals 180. So your maximum heart rate is going to be 180, and then you can work your moderate and vigorous heart rates off that. So if we're thinking about trying to find a moderate intensity workout, it should be anywhere between 50 to 70% of your maximum heart rate. If you are looking to obviously find that high intensity and really hit your vigorous zone, then you'll be looking to work anywhere between 70 to 85% of your maximum heart rate. So that one is obviously very easy to understand and probably to work out once you have your numbers specific to your age. But there's so many factors that can come into finding somebody's maximum heart rate and putting them in their zone. And obviously working from 50 to 70%, that's quite a large range as well. So, and it includes maths. And generally when we're in the gym, we're not in for a math session. So a way that we are sort of gearing more further towards is actually looking at your RPE, which is your rate of perceived exertion. Anyone doing PT with us knows all about this, as we do talk about this to set that bar for their sessions, not only to make sure that they're working hard enough within their sessions, but also to give us a gauge as to whether or not we can be adding any intensity to their lifts as well. So rate of perceived exertion basically talks about a scale of 0 to 10. And I might even just share a graphic below once we're finished if anybody is interested in that really quick sort of image. If that would be helpful, let me know and I'll definitely send it your way. But it talks about basically going from 0 to 10, 0 being not noticeable at all, and then we're moving up to 1 where you sort of notice that you're moving, what's so not. Like I might be in about a 1 now, just because I'm talking away, and then as the numbers increase, obviously the intensity and the feeling of the intensity of the training, of the movement, also increases. So we look at getting all the way up to, a light to moderate might be sitting around a 3 or 4. So light to moderate exercise would be somebody who is still able to obviously hold a conversation, but it might take, say, 10 to 12 minutes to actually start to engage in increased heart rate or feeling the perspiration or sweat starting as well. If we start to move into, into that moderate training, then that might be where, yes, your heart rate's increasing. It's getting a little bit more difficult to hold a normal conversation. And then obviously if we jump up into that vigorous style of training, it's like we've got the sweat on in, a minute or two. It's not taken too long for our heart rate to increase, and we are actually feeling that intensity increase quite quickly. So when we look at these gauges, it's actually really easy for you to just basically tune in. And I prefer this gauge as well because it does prompt you to actually listen to your body, not just follow, a fitness watch that's telling you you're at that amount of heart rate, you're working hard enough, because sometimes they can actually be inaccurate. As fantastic as technology is these days, if not properly set up at the very start, or if your actual fitness level or your weight changes when you do first set your watch up, that's not going to give you an accurate reading either. So yes, at Fitness 360, we definitely encourage the RPE, rate of perceived exertion, and that is also how we determine, how the girls are going with their training, especially in PT, whether or not we add weight, whether or not we, add reps, whether or not they're ready to move up to the next phase, or, whether we need to be like, come on, get your gear moving. So there's, a few things to consider when it comes to intensity and where you should be working in order to achieve your goals. Number one, of course, is, like I've spoken about many times, it's going to be dependent on what your goals are. If you are somebody who is genuinely looking to increase your strength or looking to lose weight, tone up, like we all like to, use that analogy, then you are going to be having to be working, upwards from 6-7 RPE. So putting yourself into that zone where you are getting that intensity, you are struggling to hold a conversation, you are feeling a bit breathless, and you are feeling the sweat start. That is the zone that you need to be in to actually see progress. Going from moderate or light or moderate walk or jog, that is something that our body can become accustomed to quite quickly. So you're not generally going to see progress in your fitness from sitting in that level ongoing. Yes, it has amazing, incredible benefits to be working in that zone, but of course, we really do want to see an increase in intensity to up the ante and achieve different results. So just like that quote always says, if you want to achieve something different, you've got to start doing something different. Am I right? So if your goal is, like I said, to lose weight or build muscle, then let's get you in the zone of working from that, very sort of hard to very hard state. So you want to be feeling that, let's say we're doing a set of squats, for example, you want to be feeling by the end of that set of squats that you only have, like 1 or 2 quality squats left. So we want to make sure that you are getting the most out, and this is also why we talk about rest, so that we can drop and relax that intensity to then apply it again and get the best results. So I really hope that that's helped given some insight into the intensity, and maybe it's just left a few thoughts about whether or not you're actually putting yourself in the right zone for what your goals are. And if, of course, you have any questions or would like me to send over that very easy to view scale of how to rate your perceived exertion, then please do let me know, reach out, and I'll send it your way. But I hope you guys are having a fantastic week, and I will be chatting to you girls next week about some more helpful tips. Let me know if there is ever anything in particular that you would like to learn, and happy to pass that on. Have a great day, guys, and I'll see you next week.